Bluff City Media presents The Anthony Sain Show on YouTube at Bluff City Media. Stepping up to the microphone is your host, Anthony Sain.
Acknowledge me.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Anthony Sain Show. This is, of course, your host, Anthony Sain. Things are a little different today. Kenny Stubblefield, mega producer, is on vacation, getting some much-needed rest, much-deserved time away from the show. We are live here from my house. I know it looks like the studio is just a little bit in the background. Yeah, we pulling it off big boy type shit over here. But anyway, I want to welcome you guys. A very important man who's jumping on with me today. He is producing the show, guest producer from Hoop Spaces, from the Asylum Media Group. My boy Michael Arrell is in the building. What's going on, my boy?
What's up, everybody? Can you hear me? I'm good.
Yeah, man. You in there, man. You ain't got to do all that, man. We hear you, brother. If I can see you, I can hear you.
Making sure.
Yeah, you're good, man. Good to have you on with me today, man.
Appreciate it.
I got to have somebody to talk to. I said, me call my boy, man. Let him get on with me. Mike, quick announcement. Like I said, you are a member of Asylum Media Group, an organization that I started to teach and mentor the next great sports media content creators, man. So, and you're a part of the team. I want you to come on with me today. 24-year-old young native of the city of Memphis, for sure. My guy, Michael Arrell. What's going on with you, man?
Appreciate it, man. Nothing much. I had to make sure I could get the job head in the frame, man. You know, the job head is important.
I see it, man. I see it for sure. Well, this is going to be a great show today. Got a special guest coming up for Sit Down with Sain, my man, Omari Sankofa of the Detroit Free Press, formerly of the Athletic here in the city of Memphis. Used to cover the Memphis Grizzlies. Good friend of mine for a long time. We aren't set up yet where we can be live in the studio and have a virtual guest. So with Kenny being out, I said, well, let me get my out-of-town buddies in. Got another special guest coming in this week. I'm not going to tell y'all about it until that day. You'll know then when they come in for the show. But it's going to be an exciting week here, like I said, while we are away from the studio and Kenny's out doing what he has to do. Of course, we got to sit down with Sain today as well. And a very special edition of Inside the Same Brain. Probably one of the more serious topics that I'll be talking about today. We'll get to that in the fourth segment of the show. But since the last time we talked, two things have happened since the last time we talked, Michael Arrell. One thing is you went to Nashville to go see Beyonce, Queen Bee herself. How was that real fast, my friend? How was that experience?
Bro, it was amazing. Like, I've always been somebody who's been like an appreciator. My fiance is a huge fan, but like my expectation, like it wasn't even that I had low expectations, but I was just like, all right, it's gonna be a concert. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of get the beehive, I kind of get the hype because it's like she's otherworldly, man. Like her stage presence, the way she performs, we got our money's worth for sure. I could have gone. Could have had it in the city. Would have liked it a little bit more if I could have stayed home, but hey, it is what it is.
That's what's up, man. I've never been to a Beyonce concert, but it seems like it's quite the blast for sure. Another event that was going on in the city of Memphis while you were away, Micah, was the Big Three came to Memphis last Saturday. I was in the building for the Big Three event. For those of you who do not know, the Big Three is owned by Ice Cube, the rapper Ice Cube, who's been so many more things other than a rapper. You know what I mean? You're talking about producing television shows, movies, acting, really just a mogul in entertainment. One of those guys who's really one of the understated guys when it comes down to just being an ultimate entertainer is what, Ice Cube has been pretty much. The Big Three, of course, is a 3-on-3 basketball league. The Travels is a 6-team league. Every time you go to an event, all six. Is that right? No, it's a 12-team league, I think. I don't know. But there were like 6 games this night.
I think it's 12. I think it's 6 games, 12 teams.
Yeah, I think it's 12 teams, 6 games. So 3-on-3 half-court basketball. The league is probably 80% former NBA players, if not 90%. So you're talking about guys that are ranging from probably late 20s to, you got a couple guys in their 30s, a couple guys in their 40s out there playing, but they're mostly recognizable guys from the NBA. Also included in this Big Three situation, they had a camp called the Young Three. And my son, Gabriel, he was involved in it. Jason Smith, his son, CJ, he was involved in it. It was hosted by Kevin Whitted, who was a guest on the show a couple weeks ago. And part of the camp package included that the campers would get 4 tickets, to the game. And I was excited. You know, we went out to the game, and all hell kind of broke loose, man. Just to be honest with you, we were given wristbands, and each wristband also represented a ticket, and you could swap in these wristbands. Swap in your wristband to get a ticket to the game. And got down there. That whole setup wasn't ready. I got down there super early because I had another event I was trying to go to. I was trying to go to 901 Wrestling for the Saturday morning wrestling event. And I was trying to get down there, possibly say I get down there early, get my tickets so I wouldn't have to miss the wrestling show, or I wouldn't have to leave as early from the wrestling show. So I got down there a little early, and the lady was like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm confused, and I have no knowledge of what you're talking about. So I started getting frustrated. I called Kevin with his wife, and she was like, yeah, we're working on it. We're trying to figure out what's going on our own selves. So we came back down there at 12. They weren't ready at 12. The tickets weren't ready at 12. I said, well, I'll go to wrestling and I'll come back later on around 1. Went to the wrestling show, which is about 10 minutes away. Sat there for probably 15 minutes, came right back to the FedEx Forum at 1. Michael Orrell, the tickets still weren't ready at 1 o'clock.
What time was tips? But like what? Like I know it's not even tip, is it? They don't tip the ball.
They tipped off at 2 o'clock. The first game started at 2 o'clock. They started promptly and on time.
Do they tip or do they shoot for it? Like how does it?
They the home team automatically gets the ball, or whoever that's home, because they're a traveling league. There is no home. They're not affiliated with cities, so whatever. Yeah. So they started on time at 2 o'clock. We ended up getting in. Shout out to Miss Whitted. I think the only reason why we got in is because she was there and was advocating for her people to get tickets. And I think, and there were a lot of camps that were supposed to get tickets that weren't getting tickets, and it was a huge mess. So I was at the game realizing that was an issue, that there were kids, parents, families that didn't get tickets to the game. So I knew that was an issue. Came home, Ice Cube is upset about, not at the city of Memphis, but at the FedEx Forum. He literally said, thank you, city of Memphis. FedEx Forum, thanks for nothing. Which raised my antenna. I started looking at other tweets. He said, then Ice Cube said something about people were trying to buy tickets and the website was saying that they were sold out. I didn't witness this because I didn't pay for tickets.
Yeah.
I did talk to friends. I had one friend who had a kid that was a camper, and his kid that was a camper, they had to pay for a ticket to go to this event because of the ball that was dropped, the miscommunication between, I don't know, whether it was Big Three, FedEx Forum.
Yeah.
There was some miscommunication. And if you know anything about me, Anthony Sain loves the kids, and I was very disappointed that this ball was dropped. But Ice Cube was upset about something. When he started off the event, he came out and he welcomed everyone. He thanked the city of Memphis when it first started. And he apologized for what he called a staff shortage on Saturday. He then began to talk about apologizing for the concessions. And he said that not the University of Memphis, the FedEx Forum was short-staffed. He apologized about the concessions. He apologized about issues with the tickets. He didn't really get into specifics.
Yeah.
I went on social media. I saw people talking about the whole thing. People were complaining about things such as not having, like they were saying, they were echoing what Ice Cube was saying. But they were saying that there were no tickets available when they went online. Zach Thomas, one of the owners of Bluff City Media, he said that he tried to buy tickets and it showed that they were sold out. So I can see.
That's what was confusing to me, because like the day before I left town, because it was the same night, I saw tickets, like I saw everything. So it was confusing to me because I'm in Nashville and all I see is just like chaos. Like I see Ice Cube's pissed off. I see the discourse in Memphis went from, oh, Tony Allen, Big Three, to like, I can't even get a ticket. There's no, like, it was just like,
right.
What's going on?
Right. So I can understand Ice Cube's frustration if he thinks that's what was going on. If he thought there was something weird going on with the ticket situation. I've talked to a few people. I saw a few other comments. And people were saying, well, you guys were probably using a third-party app. You're probably using a StubHub, or I don't know how you guys buy tickets. Breaking news, I don't buy tickets for anything. Anything you see me at 9 times out of 10, I got there for free. And it's just, I don't know if that's a gift of gab or some of that is media stuff or just connections. I don't buy tickets to much stuff. Much stuff I go to, I end up going for free. So I can see Ice Cube being upset about that. I think that there's a combination of things that may have happened. Ice Cube clearly feels a way towards the NBA. I think he feels that the NBA may be sabotaging him. That's language that we've heard before with Ice Cube. When it comes down to things like sabotage, we heard those type of words. And I'll be honest with you, if he doesn't feel the support from the NBA, or he feels like the NBA looks at him as competition, I would feel a way anytime I'm in an NBA arena. I would think these dudes are out to get me. You know what I mean? That's I could see Ice Cube feeling a way about that. I could see him feeling triggered by any little thing. You know what I mean? Oh, this is a setup. They're trying to get me. And I could also see this being a rollout. I could see this being a total fabricated thing by Ice Cube to create this narrative about the NBA to bring more attention to his league.
Why does it got to be here though? Like, why does it have to be here of all places? Like, why does this tour have to start here? Like, this whole like.
Right. But I'll say this too though, man. It didn't. Memphis is a box office city. What I mean by that is we're known for walking up to a place and buying tickets when we get there, and because of that, we don't be there on time. Like if it starts at 2, we might not roll in good to 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when it first started, the crowd was looking bad. It was looking rough, but maxed out, there were enough people in that building to fill up the lower bowl. And I was observing it. I was like, man, they probably could have pulled this off with just the lower bowl. Like it was like the lower bowl, the pinnacle level, and the you got the 3 areas, the terrace, pinnacle, and the lower bowl or whatever. And they were using the pinnacle and the lower bowl. They probably could have just had the lower bowl only. The top level was completely covered up. But you've got people who pay for those luxury suites, right?
Yeah.
So I think what was going on was you have to acknowledge them because people who have those luxury suites, they can go to anything. They can go to any event. That luxury suite gives you the right to go to anything you want to go to. So I think that what happened was you had to have that open. But even with that, you could have had that open but still blacked out everything else. I don't understand. It was way too open because if you had it to just be the lower bowl, it would have been packed. And this is something they're recording for television. So you want to kind of create the illusion that you're in a packed arena, even if you're not.
And so I know you say that the lower bowl is completely full. I know it's half court basketball. So are you talking about like that half of the court is full, or the entire lower bowl is full?
The entire lower bowl, because they did it half court, but the way it was set up, it still looked like you were in a full arena.
Okay,
if that makes any sense. Someone else said that when you rent out the FedEx Forum for an event, that there are different packages that you pay for. And they said that they think that Ice Cube might have tried to skimp. They think that he might have purchased. Tried to use and that package comes with a certain amount of people on staff, and certain concessions are open, some aren't. And they think that he may have purchased made him need to buy a better package to get the type of coverage he wanted, because it looked very skimpy, man. Concessions were super long. The lines were extremely long. Wasn't much open.
I mean, concessions are already rough enough at a Grizzlies game. Are you talking like worse than like Grizzlies game concession line?
It was tough because there was only like probably 90. His events averaged like 9,500 people per event. Mm-hmm. I would guess there were probably around that many people there. I don't know. It seems like I'd probably say probably 8, 9, maybe. I don't know. It is
the form maxes out at what, 17K? Form's like 17,000, isn't it?
Yeah, 17,000. It's probably about half full. You know what I mean? So it's tough though, man. It's tough for sure. I can understand him being a business owner. Especially being a black man trying to do what he's doing, the only sports league in the world owned by a black person. I'm sure he feels uptight about a lot of stuff. This is what this feels like. I don't see why the FedEx Forum would treat his event any different than anyone else. I get it though. You know what I mean? I would feel uptight about any little thing too if it were me. It's an odd situation though, man. It's a really weird, really strange situation. You would like for a guy like Ice Cube to come here, say he enjoyed it, say he loved everything about it, come back again. But there clearly was some type of situation that had him disgruntled. But I will say this. Enough about the whole off the court product thing. Let's talk about the actual big three. Because like I said, I was in the building. They played 6 games. Each game was to 50 points. They stop it when one team scores 25 points and they have a halftime. And there's a halftime act or some type of something in between each halftime, whether it's someone performing or some type of half-court shots for money or something like that. So Ice Cube performed in the halftime, which was halftime of Game 3 of 6. So he performed there, which is awesome. But each game, Michael Orrell lasted an hour on average.
See, I don't know what I thought was going on with the Big Three because I know they've been around at least half a decade now, haven't they? Like they've been around a good solid 4 or 5.
I think this is year 6. I think this is year 6. Yeah.
And my thing is I've never just sat down maybe in passing and flipping through channels. I'll see Big Three game and I'll keep it on. But I usually just see highlights like Bleacher Report, House of Highlights, something like that. I didn't know that you're going to see 6 games to 50.
Yeah,
that's like a whole day.
Yeah, you're watching about 300 points. Yeah, it's an all-day event, man. Like this thing started at 2. I talked to people who stayed until the end because they had to stay to the end, but even still left early. And we're like, yeah, man, it was 8:30 when I left. This thing started at 2:00.
Bro, there's Grizzlies games where you see blowouts and you're like, man, 2.5 hours felt like forever. I can't imagine 6 hours.
Yeah. And if our Ice Cube, and I'm not, because he's a multi-millionaire, smart gentleman, he gave us today was a good day. So who am I to question him? You know what I mean? But I will say that for these old-ass men that were out there, you're talking about dudes that were my age, man. There were dudes that were 42, 43. Catino Mobley was out there looking like Papa Smurf.
He's salt and pepper now, isn't he?
Yeah, that man had a totally gray beard, bald-headed. Like, dude, you look like a genie. Like, dude, you look horrible. Catino Mobley was out there. Michael Beasley was out there looking rough. Tony Allen looked rough. Shout out to TA, though, man. TA, they do this thing that's real cool, too, where, they got a 4-point shot, which is it's kind of hard to get that shot off in a half-court game because it's not like a transition shot. It's not like you can kind of get open for that, you know what I mean? Because you're playing half-court, so it's kind of hard to get that 4-point shot off. But they've also got this thing where instead of doing a coach's challenge, if you challenge a call, you got to go one-on-one with the 2 guys who were involved in the play. And if you score, you get the call. And if you don't score, that's your ass. Sorry, you didn't get – you could be right.
Yeah.
But if you lose that one-on-one battle, the call goes to you, goes to the other guy. It was Tony Allen versus Larry Sanders. Tony ripped his ball. Tony's team got the call. That's pretty dope. I ain't going to lie. That was a pretty cool element of the game.
It's more like a follow-or-die approach.
Yeah. It's like shoot or die. But it's one-on-one.
Nice.
If I were in charge, the games would not be going to 50. I'm not going to say put a clock on it because half-court basketball is kind of goofy. I would stop the game. I would either go 24 or 32. I would not go 50. Because I ain't going to lie, man, these old-ass dudes, man, their first 20 points, they look good. But after that, man, it's a struggle. Them dudes are showing their age for sure. One dude got hurt. I can't remember his name. It's a guy I remember from the league. He got hurt. But it's a lot of guys that were like your 8th, 10th man in the rotation type dudes. There's not a lot of stars out there. Like, you're not going to see.
I peeped some boxing players with some names I remember. Like
Yeah,
Earl Clark, Amir Johnson, James White,
those type
Ricky
of
Evans.
shit. Yeah, it's not like, Carmelo Anthony's there, or I think Iverson may have played a couple games, but it's kind of guys you're familiar with, but it's not like a bunch of former stars. Like you're not going to see LeBron playing in the Big Three, in a few years. So Kobe never did a bid in the Big Three. No. Like it's not that type of league. You know what I mean? So I definitely think he needs to shorten the games. If you're going to do this, I get it. You have to let every team play in every city you stop in. But 1 hour long games, man, and you're talking about 6-7 hours to get this over with. I get what he's trying to do. I don't understand it. But, Cube, I wish the best to you. I hate the situation went down the way that it did. I hate that you're upset with FedEx Forum. Like I said, it might be a rollout. It might be fake. This might all just be him drumming up publicity. I ain't mad at that either. I'm mad that we're the casualties of it, not the city. You got the city.
I hate it had to be here.
Yeah, if he's mad at a building, I ain't mad at him at all. Man, just to be real with you, man, for sure. But Cube, I wish you the best. Tony Allen, yeah, man. Yeah, just let it go, TA. I want to remember you the way that we remembered you in the grit and grind era, not this at all, man. Not this at all. But we're about to take a break, man. When we come back, my man Omari Sankofa is going to join us. It's going to be a great segment, I'm sure. Omari Sankofa from the Detroit Free Press. We're going to talk about the NBA, the WNBA, Summer League. He used to cover the Memphis Grizzlies, so we're going to talk about them as well. Check it out. We'll be back in a minute here on the Anthony Sain Show.
What's up, guys? I'm so excited to announce that we have partnered with Coaching for Literacy, and you can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or follow them on social media at Coaching for Literacy. Your subscription to Bluff City NIL is 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together. Thank you for supporting Memphis Tiger student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause of childhood literacy.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. As I said earlier in the show, I have a very special friend of mine, very special guest. This is my guy, man. For many years, I saw this brother at a Grizzly game. At the time, it wasn't as many brothers doing this as it is now. I saw the brother, had to reach out to him. I saw he was a new face, introduced myself to him. We've been good friends ever since. Life has taken him away from Memphis since then. He covers the Detroit Pistons for Detroit Free Press, but he used to cover our Memphis Grizzlies for the Athletic here in the city of Memphis. My good friend Omari Sankofa. Omari, what's going on, my boy?
Man, it's going good, man. And just happy to be on the show, man. Happy to be on the show. Yeah, you've been killing it.
We've been talking about getting together doing this for a while, but we don't really have the capabilities to be in studio and have you on. So right now I'm at the house recording. Kenny Stubblefield, mega producer, is away. So I got the opportunity to bring you on, man. So we're going to rock and roll here at the house for sure. First things first, man, I want to talk about your time when you were in Memphis. You covered the Memphis Grizzlies here. What was that like? Like I said, me and you were boys. I introduced you to your first good barber here in the city of Memphis. Probably had your first good beer with me, your first everything, good barbecue, whatever. We probably did it together. I never know we hit some breakfast spots for sure. So what was your time like in Memphis? And what was your time like being with the Grizzlies? Because you came along Ja Morant's rookie year. We both started in full-time journalism here covering the Grizzlies at the same time. So what was it like back then with that young rookie team with Jaren and Ja?
It was fun, man. It was fun. I really enjoyed being down in Memphis. And even though I got the opportunity to move back home, to Detroit, obviously, and work for the hometown paper, it was still a tough decision just for all the reasons you mentioned. I mean, like you came in and embraced me and showed me around the city. And Memphis just as a whole was like a welcoming city. They gave me crap about not knowing a lot about wrestling, but beyond that, you did too. You did too. But beyond that, it was just a really good experience and just like a good time of my life. And you talk about the Grizzlies. I got in, started maybe like 4 or 5 games into that 2018-19 season. And that was like the transitionary year, right? Like they had just drafted Jaren and they still had Mike Conley. They still had Marcus Gasol, and Marcus traded before the deadline. And then they trade Mike Conley, I think, right before the draft. And you just, of course, the front office changed a bit. Zach Kleiman, was promoted to GM, and just a lot of change, right? So I covered all of that. Then I covered Ja Morant's rookie year pretty much up until the pandemic hit. And it was just a really fun team. You just kind of see the energy, the transition from one era to the next. It was cool to have a front row seat for that and to kind of cut my teeth in a market like Memphis, where obviously the fandom is really strong. And the team's been there, like 22 years, but it's still a really hardcore fandom. So it was just fun, man. Like it was fun, and I definitely miss those days.
Yeah, we would talk a lot about how Memphis and Detroit, had so many things in common, so many parallels for sure. You guys have a young up-and-coming team too, man. The Summer League just wrapped up out in Las Vegas. I'm sure you were out there covering things live. You guys took Asura Thompson in the draft in number 5, right behind his brother, Amen Thompson, at number 4. What do you think about the Thompson twins? Of course, the one that you guys drafted. And what do you think? What type of player do you think he'll end up being with that Detroit Pistons organization? I'm really intrigued by those guys. Like the whole thing, like as far as how like they're gym rats and so focused on basketball and just no technology and all those type of things. What are your thoughts on those two brothers, especially Asura Thompson, the guy you took at 5?
Yeah, I mean, I think one, just the thing that stands out immediately is how athletic they are. I mean, Asar, he had the reverse alley-oop and like the putback one-handed dunk off of a standing jump. And it's just like some of the stuff they're able to do athletically, some of the drives Amen had to the rim. Like they're just super coordinated, super fast. Like, they're leapers. I think we saw Amen for one game. Even in that one game, we just saw just how much of an athlete he is. So that's one aspect. But I also think they just combine that with a really, I don't want to say like cerebral, but they're very much basketball players first, right? Like they're not guys who are just relying on the fact that they can run faster or jump higher, but like they also just try to play the game the right way. Like Asar, probably more of an off-ball type of guard than his brother, but I mean, Asar was still an incredibly willing passer, found a space at the pecking order early on behind some of the veteran guys like Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren and James Wiseman, and then he kind of stepped forward once those guys sat out and stepped up more as a scorer, but just very unselfish overall. And then just some of the defensive reads he made. I mean, just how nimble he is on defense, super active rebounder. He did pretty much everything well except shoot the ball, and that's kind of the knock on his brother as well. But beyond that, just as far as just being a Swiss Army knife type of player, I thought they really, really showed that they're complete players as far as that.
You've always been pretty good as far as evaluating guys. I remember me and you were early on the DeAnthony Melton island before these other guys jumped on. You definitely were the pioneer of DeAnthony Melton island. So with that being said, like, do you think that Detroit might have got the better brother? Who do you think honestly got the better brother of the two? Is it much difference between them, or who do you think got the better of the two?
It's tough to say because I feel like they both got drafted into like their ideal situations. Like Amen is like more of the point guard between the two. And really, I think they read the game pretty similarly just from what I've seen. It's just that I think Asar is like maybe a little bit more of a vertical athlete and Amen is more like quick first step and whatnot. So I think Amen is just a better on-ball creator, whereas we saw Asar just a little bit more effective in transition. But Asar is on a team where he doesn't necessarily need to be the lead guy because you have Cade and you have Ivy, and then Amen is on a team where he's really the only young point guard on the roster. They have Fred VanVleet, and I couldn't tell you who their other point guard is. So he's on a team where they need him to be that on-ball guy. So I think honestly they're pretty similar players. And I just think we will probably see Asar have better defensive stats just because he isn't initiating the offense as much compared to Amen would be my guess. But I think they're really similar players, to be honest.
You mentioned James Wiseman and Jalen Duren, two guys of definite local interest here in the city of Memphis. Both guys had a cup of tea here in the University of Memphis. A little bit larger cup for Jalen Duren as opposed to James Wiseman, of course. But what are your thoughts on those guys? Because they look very good in the summer league as well. What do the Pistons organization and the fan base think about that potential very good front court duo of James Wiseman and Jalen Duren?
Yeah, I know a lot of Detroit Memphis connections, especially with Jaden Ivey. Obviously, his mom was a Grizzlies assistant, but I think Duren and Wiseman were two players that were very, very high on Troy Weaver's draft board. I know James Wiseman was number 1 on his board in 2020, and he was willing to take Jalen Duren with the 5th overall pick actually in 2022. And ended up taking Ivy and then trading to get Duren, who fell all the way down, I believe, to 13th. So he ended up getting basically both of his guys in the lottery. But I mean, Troy, they're both big, athletic big men, obviously, and that's just kind of Troy's archetype for what he's looked for in centers. And, they're both in a situation where they have to prove it. I think to various extents. For Duran, he was the youngest player in the NBA last year, and he started like half of his games. Some of that was just because of injuries, but some of that was also just because he was really solid as a rookie and got second team by rookie, obviously. So it's just him coming back and building on that. And then Wiseman's entering year 4. Really hasn't played a lot of basketball. Like this past stretch after the trade deadline in Detroit was like one of the longest sustained stretches of basketball he's played since he was drafted. Just, being in Golden State, buried in the depth chart, and there's some injury issues as well. But he's extension eligible now. And, really, I think for both parties, there's probably more incentive for him to go into restricted free agency and put a good season together and, just put a market together as well. So maybe a little bit more urgent for him just as far as having to show what he could do. But I mean, we've seen flashes of just how athletic he is and how well he moves. It's just for him, I think, just learning the game and just applying that in a way that can be conducive to winning.
I pull for Detroit. You're my guy, so of course I keep an eye on him. Young team, like you said, a lot of local interest. I'm a big Jaden Ivey fan. I said he was my best player in the draft last year. I was really pulling for Jaden Ivey. Didn't have quite the impressive season that a lot of people thought he may have had. What do you think he is going to be like this year? Is it too late to panic or worry about him?
No, I think I think last season he showed a lot of what made him that 5th overall pick. Obviously he was one of the better athletes in the draft. So people kind of compare him to Ja, but he's extremely quick. I mean, his speed is like, especially if you see it in person, like it's really insane. I think last season was him just learning how to apply that speed toward winning. So we saw him get better as the year went on. He improved as a passer. I think his shooting was probably better than expected. And then he was asked to do a lot more than he normally would have just because Cade Cunningham got hurt pretty early. Well, really, Cade came into the year hurt, and then they ended up shutting him down to have shin surgery. So, that just made Jaden Ivey the de facto point guard. He wasn't playing off of somebody, which obviously made his job a lot tougher. But I thought he showed a lot last season. I think next season will be a lot easier for him, just given that Cade will be back and he can play off of him and probably more of an off-ball role rather than have to initiate everything.
Well, I've been taking a look down the road at the Pistons. I'm sure you take a look back down the road at the Grizzlies, the team you used to cover. What are your thoughts on the young players we have on our team? Not the Jaws and the Jarens that were here when you came here, but more so the guys we saw in Summer League, the Zaire Williams, Jake LaRavia type guys, the David Wrighties, and even guys like G.G. Jackson, who we acquired this year.
Yeah, I mean, I like Kenny Lofton. I just like his game. Obviously, he's a unique player. Killed it down in Summer League. He's one of those guys where, like, just because of his body type, people kind of question if he can thrive in the NBA. But I know he had a really good year for the G League last season, and I mean, there's even the clips of him being a matchup problem for Victor Wembanyama. There's the older video of that going against each other, and he's just a fun player to watch. So I'm definitely curious to see how things pan out for him and if he could really become a rotation piece for him. And then Jake LaRavia is also somebody I was a fan of in the draft, and I don't think he played a lot last season, but I thought he showed some things in Summer League, and he's another player that I think could end up stepping up and being a rotation guy for Memphis.
What do you think about what the Phoenix Suns are doing? They traded Campaign, putting Bradley Beal at the point of position. He's never played as a pro. He was a shooting guard in college as well. Not to say he can't be a point, but they're really going all in on their big three. You know what I mean? They're going all in on those guys. Plus, because of the CBA rules, the cap rules, there's certain things they're kind of trying to get ahead of. They're in a tough situation as far as that's concerned. What do you think about what the Phoenix Suns are doing this year, and do you think they've done enough to be looked at as a favorite in the West?
I feel like they're doing the West Coast version of what Brooklyn just did a few years ago, and obviously that unraveled. So, I think when you just look at the parity around the NBA and the depth a lot of the contending teams have to sacrifice your depth and go in on three players, one or really two of whom already have injury histories. And, Kevin Durant's going to be another year older, and he's still playing at an elite level, not to take anything away from him. But, it's just risky, to build around guys who have that injury history and to essentially go all in on three players who have overlapping skill sets too. I mean, Bradley Beal, full-time point guard, should be interesting. And I thought they actually did a pretty decent job in free agency to kind of swing on the margins a little and find guys on those cheap veteran deals. So they have some depth, but I'm just a little skeptical. I think I just have to see one if all three guys can hold up, and be healthy for the playoffs. And then two, you still have a really deep conference, or really just the NBA overall is deep, and you have 9 or 10 teams that could realistically win it next season. So, I guess to double down on the strategy that really hasn't worked for too many teams outside of Miami, it's just one way to go about things, and we'll see what happens.
The WNBA had his All-Star game during the same time the Summer League was going on in the same city in Las Vegas. Do you think that's a good, smart move by the NBA? I haven't looked at ratings. I know the WNBA is gaining. It's coming along slowly. I'm not particularly a fan. I've come a lot closer to it now than I did a couple of years ago. I'm probably actually willing to jump more into it now. But do you think that was a smart move by having your All-Star festivities while there are so many NBA heads already in town in a major market like Las Vegas at the same time as the Summer League? What do you think about that as far as how smart that was by the NBA?
I thought it was smart. I was in Vegas the first 5 days, and just seeing that, the WNBA All-Star was going to be there that weekend did make me think, well, if I see a few more days, like that would be cool, because I'll definitely go check it out. And I think it's just smart marketing to be able to just market all of those events in the same bracket, right? Like Summer League, I feel like Summer League just gains more and more momentum every year as far as just interest from casual fans. Like, seems like 10 years ago, it wasn't quite as, I don't want to say a phenomenon, but it just seems like the interest there is just higher than it's ever been. And
it's a part of the NBA season now. Like, the season ends in July, basically.
Like it feels like an extension of the season almost in a way, or like a preview of next season, really is what it is. And it's smart, I think, for the NBA the WNBA to capitalize on a lot of people already being there for that. And we've seen the WNBA's profile rise, really, especially in the last 2 or 3 years as well, with a lot of the talent that they've gotten. And then, it even went viral. Ionescu, of course, set a 3-point record, and like it's just, we're seeing these viral moments over and over. So I think any sort of cross promotion you can do is probably good for both leagues, honestly, both the WNBA and NBA.
I thought it was pretty dope, man. I think it's just do it every year. Have it every year in Vegas. Line it up with the Las Vegas Summer League, and just do it like that. I think it had a lot of buzz this year. You had Brittany Griner come back, of course. So I just think, man, just keep it in Vegas, line it up with the Summer League, and I think it can be incredible. But as far as the NBA offseason is concerned, a lot of teams made a lot of moves. Who do you think has made the biggest moves in the offseason, and who's been the most disappointing, you think, so far?
Yeah, most disappointing. I feel like not a lot of teams had truly bad off seasons. I think if you look at the teams that are contending, then you have a team like Denver that just kind of lost Bruce Brown, and they're going to look at Christian Braun and some other guys to step up. So maybe, there's some fans who wonder if they had done enough there. But there were some moves I really did like. Like, off the top of my head, I actually thought the Wizards did a pretty good job. A lot of people didn't like that they didn't get much back in the Bradley Beal trade, but just, I think that was probably one of the worst contracts of the league when you just look at the fact that I had not just the salary, but just the fact that I had a no trade clause for them to essentially wipe those books. You take a flyer on Jordan Poole, you get some assets back, and then they also, just you look at their draft. I thought Bilal was a smart pick, and I just like what they did overall. If I'm talking best off season, we'll just have to see. I'll just have to think about it. Who do you think had the best offseason? There was
offseason wise. Who was the team I was looking at, man? I cannot think off the top of my head. Sacramento's doing some slick stuff, man. They're kind of adding some cool little dudes around the end. They got one of the European guys. It was like EuroLeague MVP or something like that. I think they brought Harrison Barnes back. I think that's a big deal. I'm looking at Sacramento. They kind of did some slick moves to kind of get better. A lot of people are talking about Houston. I don't really see it the way that they see it. I think it's a lot of what ifs over there. I think expecting a team that's been that bad for so long and young to just kind of get it overnight. I don't see it, and I don't think Dillon Brooks is the guy who makes you better. I think that's one of the worst guys to get with a bunch of young dudes. I mean, if you just want my honest opinion on it, that's not hating on Dillon, but I just don't I don't see Houston the way that people are seeing them at all.
Yeah, Houston was almost like a victim of having that cap space because they just had a handful of guys that they wouldn't have got, and they just essentially said, well, we'll just overpay these guys a little bit, right? I think the third year of the Van Fleet contract is a team option, so that makes that a little bit better. But yeah, $20 billion a year. I think it might have been a little bit more than that actually. When the final number came out, is a lot of money for a player who just hasn't shot the ball very well in his career. And then, of course, everything that happened in the playoffs, which might have gotten overblown a little bit in the end, but still, it's definitely a little bit more of a gamble. So I would say one team that had it, and their offseason is not done yet, so it's still TBD. But obviously Portland, like not committing to a Damian Lillard decision maybe sooner, and then you go and I still think there's like Jeremy Grant could live up to that contract, but if you're angling toward a full rebuild, do you do that knowing that Dame was going to request out a day later? So it seems like they kind of got their wires crossed a little bit on which direction that they were going with, which was puzzling. I'm also curious. I would say that it seemed like Atlanta maybe it would make more sense for them to trade DeJounte Murray, and they extended him, and they were a 500 team last year. That's a good number for them. Like it really is a good extension number for them. But it makes me wonder what their path is this upcoming season, essentially bringing the same team back they had last year.
Yeah, without John Collins. So
and they did trade John Collins. So that's
right. You mentioned the Portland situation. How do you think that whole thing pans out? Because I think it's going to get ugly, man. I think Damian Lillard is going to start the season on Portland's roster, and I could be wrong, but maybe I just want to see some good drama. But it's just an ugly situation. It's like there's no way that's going to end cool, man. Like somebody's going to end up with egg on their face. Either Portland's going to cave in to Dame, or Dame is going to end up looking like the bad guy, or I don't know. What are your thoughts on that whole Portland thing with Damian Lillard?
Yeah, I think with a situation like that where, and especially once you like draft Scoot, like from an organizational standpoint, maybe that makes it easier for you to say, we're just going to hit the reset button now. And, you always have this talk about loyalty, but, I think that marriage has kind of been there so long that at this point, nobody can really blame either side for being ready for it to end. It's just, obviously Dame is making it really hard for them, right? But very openly trying to angle himself to Miami. And, I think Portland is playing a hand that they were dealt now the best that they can. Obviously there's no rest. They could probably let this play into pretty close to the season before they trade Dame. And, there are other teams who are, certainly working the phone, seeing if they can get involved into this as well. So, I'm curious to see how it plays out. But, it was just the timing of the trade request for Damian Lillard was just curious for me, just on how it kind of played out.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff for sure. Another interesting situation, something close to his here, is John Morant, a guy who I know made your second year covering the Grizzlies a lot of fun. When he came to the team, you were here in the city of Memphis, of course. It's been a whirlwind ever since you left, Omari. Just I'm not gonna say that because we've had two great seasons since you left. But John Morant, since then, of course, you've seen the drama with the gun incident, the incident with Joshua Holloway at his house, the mall incident, Indiana Pacers incident, Fine in the West, all these different things with Ja. Kind of a whirlwind of just wildness here in the city of Memphis involving John Morant. The Grizzlies, of course, made two moves that I think would put them as, when you ask me about teams about great offseason, don't want to sound like a move, but just being honest. You picked up a guy like Marcus Smart, who's all defensive player of the year, former defensive player of the year, a couple years ago. You had a guy like him who can come in and do a lot of things that Dillon did, do a lot of things that Tyus Jones did. You bring in the ultimate vet, mentor type guy who actually was one of Ja's favorite players, and Derrick Rose as well. What do you think the addition of those two guys, how do you think that helps John Morant this year?
I think it helps a lot. I think sometimes when you have a young team like the Grizzlies, you don't have, players who have kind of been through it before and, can kind of just be the, the clear head in the room, I would say, just as far as knowing how to navigate, fame and just the demands of the NBA and everything. That can happen sometimes where players just get sidetracked or they just stop to see the big picture. And I mean, if you're just looking at a character guy, I mean, Marcus Smart obviously is toward the top of that list. I saw how excited Taylor Jenkins was during that press conference. And,
oh man,
like, just shaking with excitement. And I mean, I just think that says a lot. I mean, he's going to come in. He's coming from a team that obviously has established a really strong winning culture. Like no hardware to show for it yet, but you just look at Boston's consistency over the years, swapping pieces in and out, and they performed at a high level. And Marcus Smart obviously was a huge part of that. A defensive player of the year himself. Somebody who could really, I mean, you combine him and Jaren Jackson on the same team. I mean, they could just absolutely lock teams down more than they already have been next season. And just I mean, on the court, off the court, like I just think Marcus Smart is going to make Ja's life easier. He's somebody else who could add that extra leadership element in the locker room as well, right? So I just think that's a huge get from Memphis. And then Derrick Rose, I actually covered Derrick Rose a little bit here in Detroit.
You did.
I moved back, and I mean, just very super genuine guy. And then obviously, somebody who has kind of been in Josh's shoes, just from the standpoint of being this young phenom, somebody who's just like this highlight reel guy and just knowing how to navigate everything that comes with that, and the decisions you have to make or decisions you can't make when you're in the public eye. I think could probably help him on the floor too, right? There's always an ongoing debate about some of Ja's dunk attempts. Like who better to teach Ja about how to take care of your body than Derrick Rose, who of course had those injury issues, but then got his career really back on track and still had some really good seasons after the fact. So yeah, I mean both of those guys, I just think just from a on the floor, off the floor, coach or whatever else, like those are two really big pickups for Memphis.
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, Omari, I appreciate you coming out, man. Everyone, there was Omari Sankofa of Detroit Free Press. My friend, my brother, man. Bro, we got to get you back to Memphis. We got to hit up Sunrise or something, man. Or get down on something.
I'm definitely
or something, man.
Yeah, I'm getting down there this next season, man. We're going to get some Sunrise. Like, might have to hit South Main, too.
Come on now. We got to do something for sure, man. For sure.
Make it happen.
Omari, we'll let you go, man. I appreciate you, man, for sure.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
All right, brother. Again, everyone, that was Omari Sankofa, the Detroit Free Press. Used to cover our Memphis Grizzlies for the Athletic here in the city of Memphis. Really enjoyed the interview with my guy out there in Detroit. About to take a break. When we come back, it's the three-pointer here on the Anthony Sain Show. We'll see y'all later.
What's up, guys? I'm so excited to announce that we have partnered with Coaching for Literacy, and you can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or follow them on social media at Coaching for Literacy. Your subscription to Bluff City NIL is 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together. Thank you for supporting Memphis Tiger student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause of childhood literacy.
Right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. Just wrapped up a great interview with my boy Omari Sankofa from Detroit Free Press. Got my man Michael Orrell in the building. Mike, you still good, man? You good? You made it back from the break?
I'm good.
My guy, for sure. This is a three-pointer where we talk about three events in the world of sports that have been, pretty big deals since the last time we talked. Number one, Sabrina Ionescu of the New York Liberty lost her goddamn mind in the WNBA three-point shootout. 37 points out of a possible 40. She made 25 out of 27 shots, including 20 three-pointers in a row. I don't care if you're a man, woman, child, whatever you're doing. That's an incredible shooting display, man. The best ever in any, not just a women's three-point contest, any three-point contest, men, women, NBA, whatever. Also got a challenge from Steph Curry. We talked about Omari with this in the last segment. That is cool that the WNBA is having their All-Star weekend while the NBA Summer League is going on in Vegas. I think it's a great idea. You're going to get those casual fans. You're going to get fans who are there in Las Vegas anyway. Why not go check out the WNBA stuff, stagger the times for stuff? I think it's really cool how they played that and how they came off. Shout out to her for sure. That matchup between her and Steph Curry is going to be incredible. And that's another thing too, man. Why not during the dog days of summer have this NBA sanctioned just 3-point contest? Put it on TNT, have Sabrina versus Steph, go at it. Only thing I'll say, I watched the video. I didn't watch it live. I watched the video a million times. Those commentators were ass. Like, and we talk about like Kenny Smith and Reggie Miller and even Charles Barkley, how terrible those guys are All-Star weekend. Let me take all that back, man, because these guys like weren't even like this girl's like breaking records in the background. And they're talking about,
man. Kenny
Smith
during the dunk contest is like bottom tier commentary.
Yeah, man. But bro, like I'm like she's literally going off. And they're talking about other stuff. I'm like, man, are y'all even paying attention?
Pay attention
to what this lady's doing. Like, at least I know Kenny Smith and Reggie Miller. They're gonna jock ride.
It's over. It's over.
Oh, 9.
It's going home. That's it.
Yeah, she was going off for sure. So shout out to Sabrina Ionescu. I'm probably saying that wrong, but a shout out to her for sure. Super excited, man. Great for the WNBA game for to go off like that. Her and Steph Curry. She put out the open challenge, or he put it out. But those two are going to go at it. So I think that could be super dope. The NBA needs to make that happen. Put it on TV. I'd watch it. I think it'll be incredible. Don't wait until All-Star weekend. Put it during these dog days of the offseason, man, if you can. I don't know if TNT or ESPN slate is full, but I'm sure there'll be much CTV between Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry. Number 2. Oh, man. Not many times do I get excited. I'm going to tell you a story about me, man. Back in 2007, the Memphis Grizzlies drafted Rudy Gay. And there was this guy that made this video on YouTube that was the Rudy Gay rookie highlight reel. But it wasn't rookie like first season Rudy Gay.
Yeah.
It was like what to expect from Rudy Gay based on his college stuff. I've got this video memorized. Like I can watch this video now and tell you what's about to happen. I watched this video a million times. And the clarity of it, the quality of it is probably shot in 180p. You know what I mean? That's it, 80. Like 80p. Like it's super grainy. But man, I would watch this video on end. I've not been excited about some off-season video like that video until I saw this video of Jaren Jackson Jr. that came out yesterday. Jaren put it out on his Instagram page of Jaren in the gym working out. Super excited to watch it. Jaren physically looks really good. Jaren Jackson Jr. took a mid-range jump shot, a pull-up mid-range jump shot in this workout. I may have ejaculated a little bit. I don't really want to release that information here. I may or may not have. But yeah, man, just super exciting to see Jaren in that workout video, because that's the thing with Jaren. There are two things that I said separate him from being what I consider being an all-world player, like an upper echelon, top-tier player in this league. That is developing a mid-range jump shot and developing a pick-and-roll game. Jaren looks horrible at times setting picks. I've said offensively, if he can get those things in his repertoire, you're talking about a guy who can be a totally different player. He can be a totally an elite tier athlete if Jaren can add those things to his game. We see guys do things in summer workouts that they never do in real games. We've seen Steven Adams shoot three-pointers forever in these games. We see guys that we thought were just back to the basket bigs taking dudes off the dribble. I saw a Kyle Anderson video. He was out there looking like Penny Hardaway. You know what I mean? Dribbling the ball. I saw a video of Dillon Brooks from last year killing dudes. They don't always translate over, but in the event that it does, if Jaren has developed a mid-range game, watch out. Yeah. But the thing I'll say, man, just that I'm excited about is the fact that we actually see Jaren playing basketball in the offseason as opposed to being on a treadmill or rehabbing or wearing a boot or whatever. This is, I think, his first season, maybe since his rookie season, that he's came in absolutely healthy. That he's,
I didn't think about that.
He's actually able to actually play basketball and work on his craft, get in the lab and get better. I'm super excited to see it, man. You're seeing his body fill out. You're seeing him become a much more physically mature player. If he can add that in with some of those adding new wrinkles to his game, I think it can be, scary hours for sure for the league. So happy for Jaren. Happy to see him add new wrinkles to his game. I hope the midi is a real thing, and I hope he's got some type of two-man game that he can get going with, whether it be John Morant, Marcus Smart, whoever they have on the ball, Derrick Rose, whoever is on the ball this year. So, yeah, I'm excited to see that for sure. Number 3, this will be the only time I address this because I expect there's more to come. Just be honest with you. Dillon Brooks, in an interview with Kelly Iko of The Athletic, Dillon Brooks was asked about playing with Fred VanVleet. Kelly Iko of The Athletic says, when I spoke to Brooks in Las Vegas last week, one thing he noted was the impact of former Raptors point guard Fred VanVleet would have on his offensive efficiency as an area he's fully aware he struggled in. I hope you are aware, Dillon Brooks. It's an area he's aware he struggled with last season in Memphis. VanVleet is one of the game's premier passers and has elite court vision. There's a reason Houston's brass felt it necessary to pay big money to land his services. VanVleet's gravity and driving kick ability are two much-needed lifts to this team's floor and ceiling. Yeah, let's chop that up. Dillon, you my man. There's been a lot of videos out, Dillon Brooks tributes. I've seen guys like you,
Dillon Island to the day I die.
I've seen guys like you who are, professing your, I'm getting emotional. Well, I feel I was starting to feel
Dillon so much.
yeah, say it in that voice. That's the voice I definitely said it in. Reading you guys' tweets. I'm gonna tell you this, man. Enough of y'all, man. Because you know what? I'm the guy who this whole Dillon the villain thing. I'm the dude who created that thing. I'm gonna let y'all know that from here into eternity. I'm the man who created Dillon the villain back in 2000, whatever year he got here. When people holler out dilly for the man, I was the one.
I forgot about dilly.
Like this dude's got some jackass in him. He's got some villain. He's got some bad guy in him. I was the guy that was calling him Dillon the villain way before anyone else. I even have T-shirts to prove it. I made a lot of money off of Dillon Brooks and my Dillon the villain T-shirts. So I'm not gonna act like I don't like Dillon. I'm not gonna act like that at all. He's probably the more beloved Grizzlies here. If anything, he's an entertainer. He's found a niche in the league, and he's playing this villain role very well. And I'm here to tell you, Memphis Grizzlies fans, do not get caught up in the trap. Dillon Brooks is going to troll. He's going to say these wild things. He's going to say all these crazy. He's going to do the week that we played the Houston Rockets. Dillon Brooks is going to say so much.
It's going to be a revenge tour, bro. It's going to be. He's a WWE NBA player. He's a heel.
Yeah, he's gonna talk shit about us the entire season. And you think the stuff he did with Mike Conley was wild when Mike came back here, and the thing he did with Donovan Mitchell or whoever. That dude is going to be in an all-time wild-ass form. You might literally see Dillon Brooks grab a dude by his balls and twist the mugs like on TV. Like, he's going to do some wild shit when he plays the Grizzlies, man. Like, I can 100% guarantee you that's going to happen.
He's so slick with it. Like, he does it so slickly. Like, this is the second time. He's like, I'm playing with young John Jaren now. Like, bro, you know that's not the case. You're getting a rise. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, and he's going to do these type of things, which is why I'm not really embracing all the I miss you, Dillon stuff, because Dillon's going to be – he's going to troll like never before this season. And that's his thing, man. You got to think about it. The villains of the league, there aren't villains in the NBA like there used to be. There used to be a ton of them. Nowadays, the last two great ones are Patrick Beverley and Draymond Green. Those are the last two current ones. You got guys like Trae Young. It seems like Trae's trying to kind of come back over to seems like he's trying to make a face turn a little bit. But Dillon's like, hey, I can be that next icon of the league. I could be that Dennis Rodman. I could be that Ron Artest. I could be that bad guy, that bad boy in the NBA. I could be the Bill Lambier or whoever you want, Rick Mahone, whatever you want to do. And I think I'm not mad at him, man. That's clearly what he's doing. Like, this is all an act. This is all publicity. It worked because Dillon just got a $20+ million a year contract with Houston Rockets. I'm not mad at him at all. But I'm not about to be baited into this stuff with Dillon. Dillon, this is all you get, man. We all know that Ja Morant was a very unselfish player. We know that he was a guy who was known for the passing and court vision that he has. We're not doing this. We're not going to act like Fred VanVleet is going to make your game better. You're still going to be the same dude doing the same wild shit in Houston that you did in Memphis. So Dillon Brooks, get the hell out of my face. As a matter of fact, I'm about to go to commercial break on your ass. I don't feel like dealing with you. I'm not giving you any more energy on this. This is it. This is all I got for you, Dillon Brooks. I'm sure there's going to be more of this. Don't get baited in. I'm telling you, man, when it's like the week that we played Houston, as soon as he plays the game right before he plays us,
it's going to start.
He's going to get the bullshit started. It's happening. And I'm not mad at it. He's an entertainer. This league is an entertaining league. So expect more of the same. Like I said, we're about to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap this thing up for a segment that we like to call Inside the Sane Brain. It's coming up next here on the Anthony Sain Show. See you guys in a minute.
What's up, guys? I'm so excited to announce that we have partnered with Coaching for Literacy, and you can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or follow them on social media at Coaching for Literacy. Your subscription to Bluff City NIL is 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together. Thank you for supporting Memphis Tiger student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause of childhood literacy.
Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. About to wrap this thing up. Shout out to my boy Kenny Stubblefield, who is away. I got my man Michael Arrell guest producing with me this week for sure. You see him over there. But we're about to wrap this thing up with something we call Inside the Sane Brain, where I talk about something that's going on, typically outside of sports, from my point of view, the way I see it. Major news that happened since the last time we did the show was the Carlee Russell situation. Carlee Russell, of course, young lady in Alabama. You all probably heard the story a million times, a million different ways. A lot of speculation about it. Carlee Russell, of course, claimed to have seen a baby a toddler on the side of the highway after leaving an event, leaving work, headed home roughly around 9-something o'clock last Thursday, I believe. She called 911 to report seeing this toddler on the side of the road. Then she called her brother's girlfriend to let her know. Brother's girlfriend, and I apologize if I'm telling you this wrong, out of turn, out of sequence, missing details. Just explaining the best way I understand the story, and I apologize if that offends anyone. Sister said that she heard her yell, maybe the sound of a phone dropping, and she was missing. She was missing for about 48 hours. Came up back at her house, allegedly barefooted, visibly upset. They took her to the hospital to be tested or whatever, or just whatever the need was that she had. Since then, been a lot of speculation, a lot of people making assumptions or claiming this is a lie or calling bullshit on this and all these type of things. Certain things, Michael, I'll admit, they look kind of odd. And some things look like dead ringers for this type of situation, for someone to be a victim of, kidnapping or possible human trafficking or this toddler being used as bait. I'm honestly don't have an opinion on this. Only thing that I would say is that every year, 250,000 Black women come up missing in these type of situations. And you hear stories of people having trap doors in their hotel, finding trap doors in their hotel rooms with tunnels underneath their hotel rooms, and ladies coming up missing, and people doing things like putting chemicals on money and paper and things like that, and on door handles,
and shit.
All these type of things. And the human trafficking is a real thing. And you also hear people say that Black women don't get attention in these type of incidents like a white woman does. And something that people are saying now is, I hope she's telling the truth, and it would be really embarrassing if she's not telling the truth, because then people will stop listening to us. And I'm here really to call bullshit on that whole thing, because I'm like, even if this is a hoax, which I don't think it's a hoax. I don't think she's lying. I don't think she's making up a story. I think there is a possibility that what we're assuming happened naturally, where there was a baby on the road and she was kidnapped and she escaped being in prison by this person, and now she's free and she's here to tell her story or not tell her story. I think there's a possibility that didn't happen as described. She could have been under the influence of something. She could have had a medical breakdown. She could have had a mental breakdown. Anything, I think any of those things are possible. I don't think that she totally made this story up, but I don't understand why this has to be true for us to care about 250,000 Black women being missing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why this lady, like, those two have anything to do with each other. Those ladies should still matter. That number should still be important. I hope that this, I do. I hope that what she's saying is real, because for strictly just a human element, I would love to hear this woman's story. I would love to hear how she escaped this. I would love to hear what she went through. There are some holes in this. People are saying things like, no one ever reported a child missing. No one ever reported seeing a child on the side of the road. People are wondering why she got separated from her phone, things like that. A counter to that is that people are saying if she was abducted, the abductors would have kept those things away from her because they could be used as a tracking device. Yeah. There are some people that feel that that it was a real abduction, but once the abductors saw how big this had got, they didn't want to have any part of that, so they did let her go. There are people, that's a theory that's out there. All the theories are kind of expected. That's human. That's the way. That's human nature. Yeah, I hate it. I wish that this was resolved right now. I wish I could look up and see her give this elaborate story of what happened and all these type of things. Everything adds out. Everything checks out. Several people are saying that if it was real, she wouldn't have. Going to that house would not have been her first stop. She would have went the first place she could have went to to seek help. I don't know, man. Like I don't get it.
That's what's crazy to me is because like I've heard that story, then I've heard another story that like, the girl, she said the girl was in the road, was trying to help the girl, then somebody abducted her, took her wig off, took her phone, threw it in the car. Mm-hmm. Then I've heard stories saying that she went to her house and knocked on the door, but I've also heard they found her in a Red Roof Inn. Like,
yeah, the whole hotel thing.
The hotel thing makes more sense because it's like, oh, she was held captive by somebody. They found her in a hotel, but like the story, like going to the house, I don't know, man. Like I said, like my opinion on it is kind of like I don't have an opinion because nobody knows. Like nobody really knows what happened. So I see you saying, like, yeah.
And I'm not like currently like constantly refreshing my screen to see what's going on, but I'm hella intrigued by this. I really want to get a resolution. I want to see what's happening. I want her story to. I'm not gonna say I want this lady to have gone through that, but I do want. No. I want her story to hold up. I don't want this to be anything fake, man. I don't think that the fate of Black women should rest on this story, and their health and their safety should rest on this. But I do wish that this comes to an end. And another thing is, people are saying if this is real, why are we being notified that this is a real thing? That there could be someone out there doing this? Why are we being notified? It's all super interesting, man. It's all super wild. I'm continuing to pray for the whole situation because it's wild. It's crazy. I just hope that she gets peace, regardless of the situation. Because if she has a drug problem or a mental health problem, I'd hope that she finds peace there. And if she's making this whole thing up, I hope that she gets peace in her mind to realize that's not cool. It's wild stuff though, man. It's wild stuff for sure. But yeah, that's another show under our belts. Mike, I appreciate you coming on with me today.
Appreciate you having me, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Learning the ropes behind the scene. Look out for Mike on Hoop Spaces. Look for him coming out soon as well with the Silent Media Group, doing great things over there.
Sure.
Really great up-and-coming young content creator coming up. Glad that he's a part of what we're doing with the Silent Media Group. And we will see you guys next time. Like I said, Kenny's away on break. We're doing things from the house. I know it looked just like we're in the studio, but nah, we ain't. But yeah, we're doing big things with Bluff City Media. We will see you guys next time. And until then, we up out of here.
Thank you for listening to the Anthony Sain Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next week.